Ooh, there is some echo. Exciting. Now there's no echo, I hope, right? So very nice to see you. Second day of Aurora Biannual in Olomouci. I hope you had a nice networking hour and you enjoyed not only our official part of the program, but the social program yesterday as well with the city tours and the regional museum. The program has 3 high-level panels. We started with the first one yesterday. We will continue today with 2 more high-level panels. So I welcome you to the second high-level panel of the biannual program entitled Alliance Exchange, Balancing Education, Research Innovation and Social Responsibility. And I also use the opportunity to bring your attention to the third one. It's the student panel. It's about student-centered Aurora and will take place this afternoon. These panels are meant to serve as a time for dissemination. So besides the working internal meetings, we also have these dissemination panels and we invite external guests, and this particular panel has guests from other alliances. So allow me to introduce my 5 esteemed panelists to you. I will start from this side, and Lenka Rovna, she's a professor, Jean Monnet Chair ad personam, and 3 times the bearer of the Jean Monnet Center of Excellence in European Studies at Charles University, also the first in Central Eastern Europe. She founded European Studies in Czech Republic and is a former Vice Rector for European Affairs of Charles University. Currently, she's also a member of Executive Board of Coimbra Group and Management Committee of the European University Alliance 4EU+. She is also a member of the Rectors Board in 4EU+, and Lenka has been awarded the title Chevalier de l'Ordre National du Mérite in 2004 and also Officer de l'Ordre National du Mérite in 2016. Ignacy Salvador Estevil is a chemical engineer from University Rovira i Virgili who dedicated his career to international research and development management. He's been Director of Research and Innovation at Rovira for 12 years and is now the Director of Brussels Office of Alliance for Universities, representing 4 top research universities in Spain. He's also a European Commission's expert on human resources strategies for researchers. Madeleine Zweekhorst, I hope I pronounced this right, is a professor of innovation and education in the health and life sciences at the Athena Institute, VU University Amsterdam. She leads the Broader Mind Community Service Learning team of the VU University, which aims to involve community service learning within all programs of the VU. In 2020, her team won the European Triple Engagement Award for one of the community service learning strategies. In Aurora, she also works on community service learning and co-creation, in addition to another 4 EU projects on the similar topic. Werner Wutscher is a founder and managing director of New Venturing Scouting, with extensive experience in collaborating with both national and international spin-offs and the academic entrepreneurship ecosystems. He serves on the advisory board of the Austrian Angels Investors Association. He is also active angel investor himself. He's also advising the Federal Ministry of Labor and Economics in Austria with the Startup Council and has in the past served as Secretary General of the Federal Ministry for Agriculture, Environment, Forestry and Water Management in Austria. And last but not least, Lucy Kotkova is our PhD candidate at Faculty of Medicine and Dentistry at Palackého University in Olomouci. After her undergraduate studies in cancer genetics, she focused her research on forensic epigenomics. This summer, she took a part in the Aurora PhD Impact Symposium Masterclass on Public Outreach in Iceland, which further kindled her love for scientific stories and looking for ways to make science understandable and fun. So this is my panel, and I welcome you all to the panel. I'm very happy to have you all here today with us. Now let me introduce the topic of this panel to you before we start with our discussions. So, as you know, European Universities Initiative is a part of the Partnerships for Excellence under the 21-27 Erasmus Plus framework program, and it's aimed at unprecedented level of deep institutional cooperation between higher education institutions in more systemic, structural, and sustainable way. So far, we know that it has generated a large interest, and these soon to be 60 alliances of higher education institutions across Europe they come together not only to lift this transnational cooperation to the new level of intensity and scope by offering study programs and opportunities to students to combine their studies in several EU countries, but also to enable the pooling of resources, capacities, and strengths to enhance quality, performance, attractiveness, and international competitiveness in education, research, innovation, and service to society, the so-called knowledge square. And this, of course, for the benefit of students, staff, and wider communities. From EU Delegation Council conclusions from May 21, is everything okay? We see that the alliances are deemed as policy tool also for paving the way for innovative, globally competitive, and attractive European education area and European research area, also in full synergy with European higher education area. They are tasked to drive forward excellence in research innovation while also promoting gender equality, inclusiveness, equity, and in this way also inspiring transformation of higher education institutions across Europe. From the last open call in November 2020, we could also clearly see that European Commission puts emphasis on the outreach towards society and economy, pretty much in line with European strategy for universities, contributing to European knowledge economy, employment, creativity, culture, welfare, and also making the best use of innovative pedagogies towards striving to make the knowledge square a reality. All UN alliances have pledged to practice this kind of a synergizing of education, research, innovation, and service to society. However, the project-based funding and the time frame for these ambitions have so far only lended sufficient support to at best trigger initial strategic and governance discussions around the models for future knowledge ecosystems to emerge. Recent guiding documents, such as investment pathways by European Commission, have also opened the doorways towards rethinking the more structural approach to future funding involving, for example, regional funding and future investment ideas from industry sector, and looking into the future to enable synergizing knowledge square and building the knowledge ecosystems that will lead towards more sustainability for all the alliances. And now I would like to tell you a little bit before we start with different questions for my panelists. The concept of the panel is that there is a specific question for each panelist, and they are given 10 minutes to respond or reply. Some have chosen to have PowerPoint presentations, others will speak freely. So I will start with the first question to Lenka Rovna. Lenka, could you please tell us a little bit about 4EU Plus Alliance and the approach that you have developed to balancing education, research, innovation, and social responsibility? You are an alliance that started generation before us in the first call from 2018 and slightly ahead of Aurora. So we are very interested to hear what kind of structural developments in university governance, educational orientation, and valorization and incentive systems we're able to put in place to drive forward the knowledge square. So the floor is yours, Lenka.
Oh, good morning. Dear colleagues, dear students, it is a privilege to be here. Could I kindly ask to stay, because I would like also to see what is on my presentation, that I don't tell you different things. I wanted to be environmentally conscious, and I didn't print it. So thank you very much. I would like to share with you the story of 4EU Plus. Our alliance, which is composed currently of 8 universities, was founded around Christmas 2017, shortly after the decision of European Council to go ahead with the idea of President Macron and European university alliances. At the beginning, we were 4. That's why 4 EU, European universities, we also wanted to express our position that we are for Europe, for the EU, and also that this is for you, for every one of our students, academics, and staff. Then the alliance was expanding, that's why we put plus, first to the north, regarding Copenhagen University, then to the south, I didn't mention the founding universities. They were Sorbonne, Heidelberg University, Prague, and Warsaw. Then going south to Milan, and a year ago we admitted Geneva University, and this year Paris 2 Panthéon-Assas, just to make this French part of university comprehensive, because not all specialization were present at Sorbonne. So from the same beginning, we are considering that we are a vision, that we are not European project run by or inspired by European Council, run by European Commission, but that we want to create one comprehensive, research-intensive European university. This means that we are one community, that we want to promote, to create European integration at university level. Of course, we are open to others, not only exclusive for the member university towards society and other alliances, that's why I'm here, but that we want to show that European integration can work at university level as well. That's why our institutions and our institutional architecture was also inspired by European Union. Then I spoke about being comprehensive, so we are covering all fields of research intensive and European, that we want to be part of Europe to promote European values, what is essential for us. Then which direction? Yes. Yes, here we are. So I didn't want to have many words. So how we started? Because we started before the call was launched. And so we were looking at our research and teaching cooperation, mostly research. So we made a list of already running cooperation or of those who were willing to cooperate. And we found out that there are nearly 100 teams who already cooperate. And we looked at the specialization of these teams, and then we identified 4 clusters. That's why we created 4 flagships, because we are combining both principles. Top-down, it means the rectors level, vice rectors, governance level, and then bottom-up. It means our researchers, students, and we are promoting their activities. So these are flagships regarding academics. Then we have academic council, students committee. And these flagships are 4. The first one is health in urban environment. So they are multidisciplinary, but usually some faculties are more present, like in this case medical faculty, but also our social sciences and humanities. Second one is Europe in the world, where are mostly social science and humanities projects. Third is connected with computer sciences, artificial intelligence, where is mostly faculty of mathematics and physics. And fourth is sustainable development, mostly natural sciences. But the flagships and researchers, they work together. Like, for instance, I am from the faculty of social sciences and my colleagues who work on memory studies, they also cooperate with colleagues from faculties of mathematics because they are dealing with big data and how to use them in social sciences. When European projects were called, so we applied, and as Selma said at the beginning, we were in the first round. We were among 17 alliances which were awarded the project, and so then our cooperation from research a bit shifted more towards education. We awarded 61 educational projects with grants, which either are still running or which finished their mission, like creation of some joint courses, pathways, summer schools, and they continue or they applied for further projects. Unfortunately, we were not able to finance the projects after the duration of the finances coming from the Commission. So what we do now, that projects which have a potential, we are financing from our universities, but we are also assisting them to continue and to apply either for European money or to be self-sustainable. Then we were also successful regarding the Train for EU project. This was the SWAF project, which will be finished at the end of this year, which is creating infrastructure for research. And one of the outcomes of the project is creation of this VDO. It was the former term we were using. This was Virtual Development Office, but now we call it Grant Support Services. It's either in education or research or both, that we have this office which is composed from research support offices from our universities who are helping the projects which started to apply for further communitarian grants. So thus we are trying to promote synergy between research and education. So even though that we were concentrating on this educational project, we didn't forget our researchers. But we are trying that, and in fact, to be honest, those who are teaching are also researchers, that we cannot divide our personalities. That's why it's not, we are criticizing, and I think also Selma mentioned this investment pathway, that this division of alliances to be only part of Erasmus Plus project, it means educational, that and to omit research, that it would not work in our universities, which are based on both education and research. So then we tried to help our researchers or those who wanted to continue with education with our own money. So we are, the members are paying a fee. The fee is 70,000 euros. We are considering that maybe we would have to raise. Like in Una Europa, the membership fee is 90,000 euro per year for every member. And from our own money, we are paying different projects of our researchers. So this year we launched Seed for EU Plus money. This was an open call for staff, students, administration, and we are paying to each grant about 60,000-70,000 euro per project, and we selected about 17 projects. So it was amazing because more than 400 persons were involved in the applications. And then about more than 100 evaluators who were working. So the community was really mobilized. And some of these grants were concentrating more on research, some more on education, or both. And so they are starting just now. The call was finished at the end of June. In July, we were announcing the results. And what is one of the preconditions is, that's why they are seed money, that these teams continue, that they apply for further financing, or that they become sustainable. Charles University launched for 5th time mini grants. So Charles is giving out each year 5 million crowns, about 200,000 euros, for small research grants for the team of researchers to get together and to start joint projects. Also, Warsaw is launching smaller amount of money, but each year they give these mini grants as well. So you see that the commitment of Charles University is really high. And besides Seed for U+, we also launched the call for visiting professorship, so that there are now 10 professors who will spend one term working at other for U+ university, being paid from our association money. By the way, I didn't mention that we have a legal entity according to German law. Then Charles University is also launching students' mini grants for students' activities. And so the previous 2 slides were devoted to the synergy between research and education. I didn't mention so much innovation, but we are also working on that. And regarding the role in society, this is what we consider extremely important. There is a new dimension which came with our member in Geneva, and this is involvement of international organizations. So we now added several grants and several options of cooperation together with international organizations. Like now we are launching a grant for all 8 universities with World Health Organization, WHO, regarding the wastewater. And we also use help of our associated partners. In Charles University case, this is Czech Chamber of Commerce, and then Association of Environmental Organizations based in Brussels. This is international organization, but there are representatives from the states or from business or NGOs who work together with us. Charles University, as the colleagues know, is launching also a call or an activity for EU+ Votes Europe to mobilize young people to persuade their fellow students and maybe families to participate next year at European elections. Of course, we don't tell them whom to vote, but just to go and participate. In fact, I already was talking about this wealth project as one case study. This is the project about wastewater, like an example. So For EU Plus at the moment is very much involved in the preparation of our new mission statement. This is also the way how to show that we are not just living from grant to grant, but we want to be here forever. And that's why our mission statements are not following the rhythm of European projects. Our first mission statement was from 2019 till 2024, and now we are preparing a new mission statement from 25 to 2035 for the next 10 years. So I thank you very much for your attention. I could talk and talk because this is my life. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lenka. And I'm sure we have many questions. The first one, have many questions, but we will have after each panelist time for a Q&A as well. Now I would like to invite Ignacy Salvador, he's sitting over there, going back a little bit to Council conclusions early on in December 2020 on the new European research area. There was a strong call for synergies already between European research area and European education. And it was stressed that institutional transformations, such as those landed by European universities, should be a center point here to involve research careers, science education, training, and international cooperation and knowledge circulation. Also, in the new European research agenda, the key aim is to achieve an alignment of measures and policy instruments for improving knowledge, sharing, and valorization in Europe. And this should build on regional and national research and innovation ecosystems to improve, of course, regional and national excellence and competitiveness. So with these agendas in mind, how can we strengthen research and innovation part of alliances? How can we further engage our researchers to collaborate together? What is the added value that they can take away from a collaboration on the alliances level? Can we have more support to researchers to collaborate and not to compete for the EU calls? And what about research careers? Can indeed UN alliances be the new platform for all of this in mind? So with this, I will give the word over to Ignacy. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Selma. Thank you very much. And you all hear me properly? Give me the time, please, when the 10 minutes finish. So first of all, I'm going to do a bit of introduction of who I am now, because most of you know me from my previous role here in Rovira i Virgili and Aurora. So I'm going to give a bit of in what I'm doing now, and then I will explain 3 or 4 examples from other alliances that I'm working for now that will help this strengthening of the research and innovation side of the alliances. So I'm part of this alliance of 4 universities. This alliance of I was going to say the learning communities are about 30, and research communities, I think that there are 23. But they are now kind of trying to concentrate them in 10 connected communities, which are those topics. The good thing on that is that this is not a top-down. This has been a bottom-up. So there have been a call by Utopia, and the researchers had to submit. 2 minutes? Oh, right, okay. So have to submit their application, and and then there was a panel evaluating the proposal, and those ones were the ones selected. Running a bit fast now because I only have 3 minutes. Latest example is that Utopia have got a co-fund, okay? Co-funded by the European Commission, something that I had in mind as well in Europa, in Aurora, I was insisting a bit. 76 postdocs, 4 years contract, that they at least have to go for 2 or 3 universities in Aurora during their postdoc. As well, they have to have the intersectoral mobility, so they have to go to either a research center or a company or something like that as well. But this is the co-funding, of course, comes from each university that will host the postdoc. More details if you want, then you ask me. Okay? Then the other alliance, ECIU. These are the members. This was created in 1997, and they already decided back then to have a long-term research strategy that now kind of been confirmed with the SWAF project. So part of the SWAF project was to get in motion all these things, concentrating in these four topics here. The SWAF project is called Smarter, and they focused on smart European regions. ECIU is focusing on really having an impact, a local impact, so they decided to focus all the research strategies to help the regions where the universities are located to have a further impact. So basically that's a bit of the idea of that, but I'm giving you some examples. They have a citizen science platform, which they basically share experience among the researchers and the staff on how to get science explained to society and how we get citizens participating into the research projects, what is called the citizen science. There is the citizen science platform, the first image up there, but for example, one of the projects that was funded by this project was by CISEN in Google that created an app to, for example, detect in the cities where the universities are located how cycle-friendly is that city. Therefore, you can create an impact with the local politicians and municipalities. And then they also created the ECIU Smart Academy, which is basically focusing training researchers on different transversal skills. Aurora have that as well, I think, if I am not wrong. So, for example, how to training on challenge-based research, citizen science, public engagement, etc. So far, they did 12 courses and managed to engage more than 223 researchers. The other thing that as well my previous speaker had as well is like the SEED project, and they put this is basically to fund small projects on research projects, but they have to be in collaboration, researchers from all the universities, or no, at least 3 universities of the Alliance. They put this total amount of funding, 50 applications, 14 projects were funded in 2 calls, and more than 430 researchers applied and get involved. So is that the way of them knowing that, oh, ECIU exists? Okay. And this is the final slide. They did this ECIU University Research Conference in Barcelona. It's always a nice place where to do conferences. And basically, is today's conference, and they invited not only PhD students to present their poster, fully funded by the conference, but also keynote speeches of each universities that were explaining those projects funded and to try to increase the collaboration among themselves. And they had people from the European Commission, like Stan Delore, attending to the meeting as well. Okay? So, conclusions. Researchers at universities really need to see the added value of the alliances. So I think this is one of the objectives we need, how we involve researchers participating to the alliances. I'm a fully believer and convinced that the research and innovation will strengthen the alliances. That have not to be separated, education and research and innovation. Research and innovation, it will definitely strengthen that. For the EU researchers' careers, the European Commission have just published in July the new framework, the proposal to the European Council, and it is mentioned that the alliances might be one of the instruments to guarantee this EU researchers' career. So let's think how we can really be this instrument for the European Commission too. And definitely what I see now is that we do really need to work together, alliances, to exchange best practices and to get the most of it. When I was talking to the people in the other alliances, they were really happy that I was going to share this experience with Aurora. So, and they back asking me, and what are they doing as well? So I think that's good thing to use, and let's use it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ignacy, for 10 Spanish minutes, which are a little bit different than, let me try with 10 Dutch minutes now. I knew this is not going to be easy with multicultural setting. So Marjolein, we're going to talk a little bit about knowledge ecosystems. They always refer to systems of interconnected components that work together to create, share, and use knowledge. And at the center of the knowledge ecosystems, there are universities surrounded by various different actors at local, regional levels. And this interconnected diversity of stakeholders should bring about the capacity to find a solution to address the societal challenges. And hopefully we will focus on the most pressing ones that we have in these regional hubs for systemic innovation. So my question to you is, how do community service learning and co-creation platforms that you develop at VU, but also at Alliance level, at Aurora Alliance level, embed social responsibility and address societal challenges by working in local communities and with regional stakeholders? The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm going to tell a little bit about Aurora, about the community service learning. I don't know, raise your hand. Who was in the panel yesterday with Kees? Yeah, I can use the mic. I will stay a little bit in front of the mic. Anyone who was at the panel with, Kees? Anyone more? Is the only one? No, yeah, there we are. Okay, I was in the panel. I had discussed about this boundary crossing. If you would like to build competencies for social embeddedness, social challenges, it needs to cross boundaries. And I discussed yesterday 3 boundaries. Boundary crossing between disciplines, boundary crossing between science and society, and boundary crossing between different nationalities. And I will show how we do it in Aurora today. For service learning addresses community issues where students do something in their programs for society, so it can be a societal question, and they get study credits in return. And I would say this is the boundary crossing between society, which is important. And we did that in Aurora. With our colleagues, some of them are in the audience today as well, so I put them on the screen. It's Rovira, Palackého, where we are now, Innsbruck, and Duisenberg-Essen. And what we did, some of these colleagues also had huge experience in service learning, so we combined all this knowledge to open up as much CSL courses as possible. We assessed competencies, also we compared, we have lots of different things we can learn from each other. We also stimulated it for teachers, because the ones here had a lot of experience. We would like to exchange that, so please, if you're interested, we built a toolbox. And we had international learning labs, which I thought was very inspiring. Talking to other people doing this in different countries also is very interesting for us, and we learn a lot from these differences. Now, what we sorted it in, I will take this one, way more easy. So we started with a few CSL courses, and of course it's sometimes difficult to decide what is a CSL course. But as you can see, there's a steep increase. What we see also that teachers are very much interested in doing this. It makes teaching way more interested to have real-life examples. Students overall are very much interested to do it. I leave out the complexity now. As you can see, we also have an increase of co-creation courses, as we call it here. In co-creation courses, students really collaborate with the community and co-create something new, instead of just answering the questions. Sometimes you can just answer a question and give it back to the community. That can be CSL. Co-creation implies a little bit more. Now below, and we put all the students. Now as you can see, there's a huge increase in students that have been involved in this type of education. So this is an example of co-creation. As you can see in the picture, students are really in the community. As I saw yesterday, we really like to get the students out of this room, outside with the communities themselves. And with co-creation, they really collaborate together. Now also here we had a lot of our partners also in the audience that collaborated with us. The same list as I just presented, but now I add University of Minnesota and University of Naples. And what we did, we opened up the co-creation courses, which are fewer than CSL, because it's really more complex. We also developed a joint co-creation course between all Aurora partners. And we did a survey to see what was done before and how much co-creation we did have in the end. Now, as you can see, this is just the starting of the toolbox, and I really, if you're interested, let us know. We will give you the link, or just Google the Aurora toolbox. They're very nice movies from all our countries, so you can really see the differences. Now, we had different trainings. We have during COVID, because a lot of things take place during COVID. And interesting enough, CSL was not limited by COVID. It was an opportunity to online still work with communities. But as you can see, we have a lot of participants and a lot from Aurora as well. And the other one was live, in person. Now, just to give an impression, this is some photographs from the co-creation lab. As you can see, we also co-created ourselves a lot. I don't dive into depth in the survey, but as you can look at the survey, we can see that the value especially of the co-creation was increased by the students, by the communities and the teachers as well. Now, yesterday I dived a little bit in this. If you want to address these very complex SDGs, we need more. We meet across boundaries, disciplinary, social, national. We have 2 courses. I will show you brief, and I end up with a video on that. As you can see on the left side, we have participants not only from Aurora, but worldwide. And these students are studying at these universities, so they're not in the other universities. And we put them in 2 courses. The first one is to define in a multi-stakeholder context the question, and the second one is to address it. So the first one, so it's 3 EC, 3 European credits, and it runs weekly, and we really define with collaboration with the local communities the questions they have. So these are some photographs from the events in the Netherlands, but parallel they happen in a lot of other countries. And then students address it in these international, interdisciplinary student groups. Now, how does it look like? Like this. So you have a complex problem in the middle. Then you have students, as you can see, from various universities throughout Europe and beyond. They work from different disciplines on this similar topic. And as you see in the outer circle, the supervisors of the students are also involved. And what we notice, also the supervisors, it enriches their networks because they come into contact on topics they work on but then from experts from different disciplines and different countries. We close this with a huge event. In this case, in the Netherlands, we use the public libraries, again, outside our university, and we call it the Science Festival. And this is a picture of June 20th in the past. Some of our colleagues also that are present today are in the picture. And during this event, we really bring together the students, the teachers, the stakeholders, the communities to discuss the results students found and make new questions for the coming year. And I have a brief video to show this.
Is the food sweet? Is the food clean or safe for consumption? Is it balanced diet?
To be more aware of our food, to handle it in a better way.
Today we have this big event in which the students present their end results of their research they've conducted.
And one of the most interesting things of co-creation is the engagement, where all the citizens, the political actors, the administrations can be involved together with the students and the experts from the universities.
My university is inside Aurora network. We collaborate with community service, learning projects, engagement projects with community, and we also look for ways to develop more social impact.
With Aurora, we have the chance to address societal challenges in our research and our lectures, and this is a great chance for our service learning development.
This is our energy timer. The song here is timed for 5 minutes.
Wat ik zonde vind, bijna 50 jaar terug heb ik specifiek gekozen voor Noord vanwege het groen.
The Aurora Alliance, over a course which is called Interdisciplinary and International Community Service Learning. So we have students from all of the countries collaborating together, working on complex problems of society, which are boundary crossing, not only disciplinary but also national boundaries.
I got a nice offer to enjoy 5 months long course, online course. The topic was like creating sources of mental strength. So when thanks to Aurora, I got like financial support, enjoy this conference and also face-to-face classes.
Nog 30 seconden. Wie stelt hier wel eens vragen?
There is a lot of things under the label here, but not how much energy it used to produce these things.
Let's talk about citizenship as well. So consumption doesn't happen in isolation. It happens together with all this complex network of people, processes that goes from production to processing, community building.
Thank you.
That was in time. So now going to Werner, who is here with me. I can see we will talk about universities creating and transferring knowledge, and this is also fundamental for research and innovation, of course. Here, the translation processes between academic knowledge and external knowledge sectors, of business, of public sphere, are of key concern. And this then brings us also to engagement with external stakeholders, being one of the highest priorities for universities as well. The new vision also puts the citizens at the center of these translation processes and considers cities as living labs of innovation. These are places where strategies for dealing with most important challenges like climate change, energy, transport industry biodiversity, natural resources, health and well-being, etc., become important. They coexist and intersect. So, Werner, this is my question to you. From your extensive experience and in your view, what are the entrepreneurial and industry perspectives and opportunities for collaboration with alliances, especially with Aurora Alliance? And if you'd like to take examples from Aurora Alliance to demonstrate this potential. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Selma. Dear ladies and gentlemen, I'm the only not professor here in this room, I think, despite the fellow students. So thank you for having me. I'm also serving in your external advisory board, and your question, Selma, is quite extensive, I would say. I try to cover. I don't have slides. This gives me the chance to also react to the previous speakers directly. I had to rewrite my thoughts. I would like only to focus on 3 points today. If we would like to tackle the grand challenges which were previously on the slides, I think we have to intervene on 3 levels: culture, space, and communication. And I would like to start to speak about culture. As Selma said, I work a lot with universities. I'm also the president of the board of overseer of a university, but I do a lot of programs for academic founders. And what I see is that entrepreneurship sometimes really is in conflict with the values of universities. Because at the core of entrepreneurship is that you have to take decisions under uncertainty and that you have to take risk. And normally in the value set of university, it's quite different. What I want to say with this is I think we have to think through also our culture, and I think initiatives like Aurora, and also the example which has been shown before, are an excellent driver to also change culture at universities. We had last week a conference in Vienna where we spoke about how to bring into STEM, you know, science, technology, mathematics, also the arts. And it was very fascinating because we found out at the core there also is a lot of common ground between entrepreneurship and science, but you have to work this out. When I started our programs at Austrian universities and spoke at the consiliums, at the faculties about leadership and entrepreneurship, they said, no, we don't need this neoliberal stuff, and you are a bad capitalist, we don't need this. So I think we have to work on this, and it's very important to come up with this collaborative approach, and therefore I'm like to work with Aurora, because it's a much more collaborative aspect than we have in traditional classical university styles many times. But we have to be aware, and we also should make this clear where there are the conflict lines. Otherwise, I think we are not really doing the discussion in a very, very honest way. My second point is about space. Yesterday, I participated in the sustainability panel organized from Lorenzo, from the University of Innsbruck. And we had a very interesting talk afterwards. Should we more focus on the individual level? You know that only the consumers, they can change everything, and climate change and other areas. Or should we more focus on the societal level? And I'm a big believer we need new forms of governance and collaboration to create space of maneuver, Spielräume in the literally sense of the word. Spielräume, space of maneuver, where we bring together individuals and where we bring together other groups to really then also boost the change. I worked as permanent secretary for the Ministry for Environment for several years. And you know, it's very easy to blame politics, bureaucracy, the business or whatever, but to find these new forms, and we saw several excellent examples here, learning communities, research communities, and it's a big difference to manage a community and to deal with a community than we were used in the past with different target groups. This means you have to work in a multi-stakeholder approach where you bring in also the unusual suspect, where you bring in also investors, where you bring in corporate companies, where you bring in civil society. But I think it's very important that we start to think in these new forms of governance and more in the community approach to really tackle this. And this, therefore, we need platforms. I don't mean space, you know, in the lab scene and so. I have a lot of discussion with my rector because he always wants to build something new and new labs and stuff. I mean platforms in a more holistic way where we really bring together all these different ideas and communities. And my last point is about communication. Yesterday, also in the sustainability panel, there was the discussion, we need more science on climate change. We should not only focus on the political side. I agree, but I really think that communication, especially communication with society, is a key. We have seen in the last years, concerning with COVID and other stuff, that science lost also trust. And I think to bring back trust is very, very important. And the dialogue, and what you have also seen before, I was yesterday also in the workshop for COIL, done by our Spanish friends, and today this service learning approach. These are examples where we bring in the citizens, where we are in a very close dialogue. And this is again a cultural question. It's a big difference if you go out and say, I don't know exactly what is the solution, or if you are the total expert who knows exactly what is necessary. Both things are very, very essential, but I think in the long run, it is very important to be much more open. From the perspective of the entrepreneurial side, I think there is a big openness now for social entrepreneurs or also business-oriented, for example, spin-offs. We do have excellent research, and I think also we have to speed up. If you look to the numbers, and I invite you to the workshop for the afternoon I do here, if you look to the numbers, we are excellent in research, we are excellent in patents, but if you then look how we are able to transfer it really to the society and the economy, we are way behind other parts of the world. So I think speeding up is also very important, but we have to do it not in a top-down approach, but in a bottom-up, and therefore we need this openness. Summing up, I think, and I'm faster than 10 minutes, I think that it's very important, and this is also the reason why I really like to work with Aurora, that we build up communities who are able to tackle these problems of the future, and I think this could be also the most important task for Aurora. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Can I welcome back all the panelists back to the panel? We now have 10 minutes for reactions to each other's presentations. So I allow this time for the panelists to raise questions to each other or to comment each other's presentations. After that, we will go over to you and Q&A, and you will be using the app. Niels can explain a little bit how you can use it, but if you go to surveys and Q&A, you are able to post the questions. So, but first to the panel, and I open the floor for my panelists to react to each other's presentations. If we have any, that is.
Very much. I think it is so useful to meet and to share experiences, because I learned a lot from other panelists, and I was making notes, and I will share with my partners at 4U Plus inspirations. If I may ask Ignacio, because 4U Plus opted for purely federal model, like European integration, it means that we have almost presiding university. So we have rotation of presidency. Currently, it is university in Copenhagen, but in next month, we will have our annual meeting, and this will be Milano, who will be running the show for another year. As a legal entity according to German law, we have an office at Heidelberg University, but it doesn't seem very convenient because it's not so easy to get to Heidelberg. So we are considering to change legal entity to Belgium and to have our seat in Brussels. And you were speaking about utopia, which now has got legal entity according to Belgian law. So there is one disadvantage, that there is no member universities in Belgium. On the other hand, I think that many of us from 4U Plus go to Brussels, and they can visit the office and be present even more there. And of course, we see as a big advantage to be close to the institutions, to attend many activities which are going on each week and are useful for colleagues to be present and to inform others. So can I ask you, Ignacio, what would be your advice regarding having the seat in Brussels and not having there a member university? Thank you.
Okay, there are two things here. Having a place in Brussels, it does not really directly link to have a Belgian an association or a legal form under Belgian law. ECIU have got an office in Brussels, and they have a foundation under Dutch law. We are a Spanish association, and we have a seat in Brussels, but we still are under Spanish law. Utopia created that because the Vrije University of Brussels is actually based there. And for the different legal entities they analyzed, that was the easiest one here. Having said that, ECU got a project funded by the European Commission called ESEU to analyze the legal entities that the European University Alliances should have, okay, as universities. So we are looking into a super level kind of entity, an international entity, like NATO, like CERN, like other kind of institutions. And they actually published the results. They studied 4 kind of legal entities, 2 private and 2 public. The private were la Société Européenne and la Société Coopérative Européenne, and the 2 public ones were a foundation, an European foundation, and and the other I don't recall right now, but I can send you the information on the report is public, and basically there are lots of issues, lots of legal issues concerning to contracting staff, mobility, and all these kind of things. So nowadays it looks like there is no option rather than creating something under a country's law, thinking on several issues. But, well, this is a long-term discussion, but that's my advice would be, if you already created in Germany, you can move your office, or you should be able to move your office if you want to Brussels, and there will be it shouldn't be a problem.
Thank you very much. We were advised by the lawyers in Germany that it would be the problem regarding having employees, but I am happy that you mentioned this project about legal entity, because this is what we are looking for in the future, to have European legal entity and operate Europe-wise or internationally. I am sorry that my colleague was not present yesterday because he was supposed to speak about European degree project Charles University and 4U Plus is involved in. We are also in this legal entity project, but not as a coordinating partner. Thank you.
I wanted to ask the question to Aurora, to whomever wanted to answer this. Are there any ideas to do a more structured way also when you approach stakeholders? You do it per project. I saw it in your Excellent with the citizen science. But is there also an idea that you approach, for example, industry or others partners in a coordinated way? Because this could be very, very interesting from our side. And I have no clue if you also do this.
I can quickly answer that. In the next phase program that we do have a regional stakeholder and ecosystem task team. In fact, it's led by our Vice Director Strategy, Michal Malacka, and maybe he wants to comment on this, but we also have entire work package 5 on research, and citizen science is a part of that, and open science as well.
Can I also add here? When we talk about community-served learning, it's important to involve all the stakeholders relevant for that particular issue. So, of course, it's then needed to also include not only the citizens, but also the NGOs involved in that, also the industry involved in that, also other local organizations. So what you see in this example, it's quite diverse who is around. And definitely it's also industry, because if you would like to make changes, you need to involve all the stakeholders involved in that particular issue to make a change. And therefore and I like that with you, yeah, you say culture, space and communication. I think these are crucial because we all communicate differently and we need a safe space. We choose therefore the public library. It turned out not as safe to be as even we would like to have it to be, but at least it's a step in that direction. But we definitely include all the stakeholders. Yes, thank you.
Actually, this question is most welcome, and I am happy to have you here because I'm your schoolmate, my dear friend. So we have studied both of us in Graz, in Austria, and not only because of that, I am proud to announce that we are actually partially responsible for the new strategy of Aurora in the second bit to establish actually a proper strategy for collaboration with the regional, upper regional, and multi-culti even. With stakeholders in international point of view. So that transfer and all aspects that you have been actually speaking about are our concern, and I think that we are already doing that, but we have to prepare an exact strategy how to make it better and how to take advantage from that for all the members and maybe other associated partners. So maybe in the coffee break I would like to discuss more details also with you about that aspect. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Rector Malacka. Yes, go ahead, Lenka.
Thank you very much. Very shortly, I was already mentioning Chamber of Commerce in the Czech Republic. So they are also communicating with us regarding our study programs, what employers are missing once they get our alumni. And then also they speak about the possibility of our students to be placed at the companies. We also deal with authorities on different levels. So whenever we have also our meetings, we are also visiting local authorities, like we will be in next month at Visconti Palace together with the mayor of Milano. But also at lower level or regarding the state level, these are ministries of education who are involved in our European degree preparation and also National Accreditation Office. So what I learned here, what we have to do more is citizen science, and I got some inspiration. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We open the floor for all of you to ask questions. I believe, yeah, Martin has a mic over there. And you can also post the questions. Oh, there is one question posted. So this is, should I take this question? Are there questions from the audience? Anyone? No. So then I will take the question that was posted here. My question, it says, is to Ignacio and the speaker from Charles University, Lenka. We heard about science-society connections, but how do these alliances achieve that? Is there a joint initiative for it, or the institutions do that on their own? But how does the alliance support it? Are there frameworks, models, common practices?
Talking specifically from ECAU, ECAU had already a strategy before the alliance came on citizen science, and each university had already a citizen science lab. That means that it's not, as we were saying before, it's not a physical space. There were like 2 or 3 technical people working on methodologies to work with citizens and citizens, including as well companies, and including municipalities, including associations, including schools. So we're all kind of putting all together open science, open concept with citizen science. And basically what they are getting in now is really having this experience of methodology, on co-creation, participation on international, national, local, and international activities to get into more local kind of challenges. For example, in Spain we do have a great problem of how to use the water. Okay, there is a water drought, so we do really have a challenge there. So basically we started working together with the schools and elderly people associations on how together we manage that problem of reusing and consuming less water and detecting what happened. And there on those citizen science experiences were researchers experts on wastewater treatment, but as well people from companies, water companies, people from municipalities, and then teachers and the students from the schools and from university. So basically it are kind of maybe small examples on how to tackle citizen science and local problems.
Thank you very much. What you mentioned, this is done at For You Plus as well. It means that we are opening universities, the space, as Werner was mentioning, to the citizens. And we are organizing some festivals of science. For instance, it was in Paris, or Charles University is doing that as well. There are many activities like that, but I think that when we are considering our new mission statement and preparing strategies, that now learning more, it would be good to have it prepared more precisely, that now these are individual activities either of our universities together with others or at lower level, at the level of the teams which are promoting their projects. Thank you.
Just wanted to add that the added value of the Aurora, of the SEO-IU was that they exchange practices on how to do that. It's not that someone from one other university was going to do us how to do that, because language is an issue on that. You need to speak the local language to properly do a co-creation activity in your lab. But the technicians working, the staff working into that, really managed to exchange best practices on how to deal with citizens of different ages and different backgrounds. So that was the added value of the Alliance.
Thank you very much, Ignacio. There is one comment to Werner Wucher saying that new era action is being proposed on science for policy. Aurora is collaborating with several national governments to adjust this to involve citizens and politicians in order to gain trust in the whole ecosystem and to be able to adjust and gain support from society for new policies. So thank you for that comment. And we have two more questions. They're both for Lenka. The first one leads, you mentioned the idea of having one research-intensive university. Did you discuss a merger with partner universities, a transnational campus perhaps? And the second question was as well to you, Lenka, are students in 4U Plus a part of all decision-making bodies?
Thank you very much. Regarding our mission and vision, creating one comprehensive, research-intensive European university means that we want to create one community. And it is amazing to see at all levels, at student levels, how more and more students are aware, taking part at activities, either educational, but also being active themselves, like our student mini-grants, or now this activity for EU Plus Votes Europe, the same among researchers. When we have meetings, I always tell them, this is not for European Commission. We do that for ourselves, and we have to enjoy that. And this is wonderful to see that people like to work together. And then, of course, the level of researchers, staff, governance. So I think that this is the deepening of cooperation, the feeling of belonging, which is very important because this is precondition of doing things. Once you enjoy working together, then you can have some impact and some results. So you speak about one campus. So in fact, we are creating that because, and there was a big push during COVID, that there were several hundred courses we were offering to each other, and it still continues. Not as many courses, but students are taking online courses at other universities. We have some joint MOOCs like European citizenship, and we are creating more and more not only joint courses, but even joint degrees. And when speaking about value added, so when there was accreditation process, it went so quickly through all these institutions because there is mutual trust. It's not necessary to start to negotiate from the scratch. Then we have also some framework agreements like Erasmus. So this is recognition of courses so that cooperation is much more easier in the framework of for EU+. And regarding the students' participation, so students are involved in several bodies. So they are in the academic council of for EU+. They have also their students' executive committee, and they also are invited at many ventures. So they are not member of the rector's board. So even though that they were interested to participate, but there are only the rectors. But of course, it's public. There are no secrets. So we are communicating with students and sharing their opinions and taking into account because they have much fresher look than we do. Very good inspiration. So thank you.
Thank you very much. We do have a question for Lucy Kotkova, but and you may want to answer this question before I give word to you for your 3-minute thesis speech. We haven't finished this panel. We have saved the best part for the last 3 minutes for you, but if you're okay with answering the question, there is a question to you. How was your experience with Aurora PhD Impact Symposium different or similar to your formal studies, and would you recommend Aurora activities to other students?
Well, it was definitely something unique compared to my traditional studies, and we were mostly working on skills how to explain our complex and difficult research to non-specialists in understandable and hopefully enjoyable and fun way. And I must say that I used that skills since then, either for submitting papers where nowadays they want us to write plain text summaries and even things like a tweetable abstract. So it is really necessary to extract the whole research to just one sentence. And yes, when you have just 3 minutes to explain yourself and not lose your audience, it really takes a skill, and I think it was a great experience.
Thank you very much. And with that, actually, I would like to take this moment at the end of the panel. I thank you for the questions. I see that you have some more comments in the app. You can continue that. I invite you also to continue communicating with our panelists after the panel. But to conclude, I wanted to draw your attention to Aurora PhD Impact Symposium. And it's an event that was led by science communication experts from all our universities, and it took place in Iceland, 30th of June this year, with a wide range of classes and workshops, and bringing together a large community of our PhD students. It culminated with 3 minutes thesis competition. And in this challenging format, the students were asked to explain their research and impact it has on society by using just one slide with 3 minutes pitch. So it is my great pleasure now to invite one of the 3 minutes winners, Lucy Kutkova from Palackého University, to present her research. Let's give her some encouragement. Lucy, the floor is yours.
If you are a police investigator and you find a biological trace containing DNA on a crime scene, you have basically hit the jackpot. At least that is what crime TV shows have taught us all. You will run a DNA profile through a police database or compare it with your suspects. You get a match and your case is solved. But what if it is not? You have no match, no suspect, nothing to compare your precious DNA sample with. Wouldn't it be great if you could just read the DNA and see what kind of person it belongs to? It is, after all, the whole recipe to make them. Well, let's have a look at it. Let's imagine a gene encoding some ability, for example, your ability to play a piano. Every person has some genetically given range in which their ability to play can develop. Some person will never be a virtuoso, but if they will practice daily, they can get much better than their genetically more talented colleague who skipped classes to drink with friends. And that would be a problem with genetic predictions. You would find the DNA on a crime scene, read this piano playing gene, see, oh, this person is really talented, and look for an offender in a prestigious orchestra. But you were misled. An offender cannot play at all, they didn't practice. And this is where epigenetics can come to help. The DNA sequence itself doesn't really change much throughout your life, but a specific molecule called methyl group can stick to it like some ball of a chemical Play-Doh, sitting there, taking space and preventing it from fulfilling its function without irreversibly and hereditarily changing it. You start smoking, some balls sticks to your DNA in a specific position. You are overeating, some other balls sticks elsewhere. You start exercising, you start taking medications. Countless of factors affect how many of these groups will stick to your DNA and where. In my research, I am looking for specific positions where this methylation is affected exclusively by chronological aging. Not your biological age, we have another tools to tell you how devastated or well-preserved your body is, but to be as specific to the birthday in your ID as possible. In the moment, we can predict age of an unknown person from their blood with mean error of 2.6 years, and 87% of samples are correctly predicted in the range of plus minus 5 years. This can give police investigators quite a reliable window of 10 years in which they can look for their suspect. This can save money, save time, and lead to better general safety. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank all my panelists for this very exciting and very interesting panel. It's been my pleasure, and I hope we can continue the discussions together with them in a coffee break. I also use the moment to invite you for a student-centered panel that is called Towards Student-Centered European University Alliances, which takes place right after the coffee break.
ample time to have some coffee, I would like to slowly start this session, a session that for us was incredibly important, and for me personally, I feel the most important out of the panel sessions, because we do find it very important to give center stage to the students during the biannual as well. So we will have a panel where the student council will talk about their priorities, their achievements. They will start by introducing themselves, and then following that, we will have Damir Solak, student from Maastricht University in Brno and the EDUC Alliance, as well as the European Student Union, give a different perspective on the students' roles in European alliances. But now, without further ado, first I want to give the stage to the new Aurora Student Council so that they can introduce themselves.
So hello everyone, and thank you for coming to our panel session. Yeah, I thought it would be a good idea so that all members of the Student Council introduce themselves, so you all know who they are, and they all know who you are. So I will start. My name is Hanush Patera. I am a student here at Palackého University, currently finishing up my bachelor's in psychology, and I am the president of the Aurora Student Council for this year. And now I would like to invite all of them, if they could just join me here and introduce themselves one by one.
Hello, my name is David Ellaby. I am from Copenhagen Business School studying Advanced Economics and Finance, and I'm also part of the Aurora Student Council.
Hi, my name is Søren Dehn. I'm also part of the Aurora Student Council for Copenhagen Business School, and I'm studying International Business and Politics in the Bachelor.
Hi, my name is Sigrid. I'm studying psychology at the University of Iceland. I'm part of the council.
Hello, my name is Van Nagen. I study politics, philosophy, and economics at the Free University Amsterdam, and I am also a part of the council.
Hi, I'm Sophia. I am third-year medicine student at the Free University of Amsterdam, and I am also a member of the council.
Hi, my name is Presova Petrova. I'm 21. My university is Southwest University in Bulgaria. I study international relationships, and I'm also a part of the student council. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sophia. I'm from the University of Innsbruck. I'm studying philosophy and gender studies in my master's.
Hello, it's Xenia Ribiralta, and I was part of the Aurora Student Council for 2 years, and now I'm just substituting my student representative from my home university, Univerzita Rovira i Virgili.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I study archaeology and political science at the University of Innsbruck, and I'm also part of the council.
Hi, I'm Aurora Gaucher from University of Paris-Créteil. I'm currently studying economics in master degree, and I'm in the student council since 1 year now.
Hi, my name is Mathilde. I'm from UPEC. I'm studying international business, and I'm in my last year of bachelor's, and I'm also a member of the student council. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nana Rasmussen. I am from the University of Iceland, where I'm studying Icelandic as a second language. I am the secretary of the Aurora Student Council.
Hello, my name is Lucy. I am a member of Aurora Student Council. I'm currently in a position of communication officer. I am finishing my Bachelor of Psychology this year. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ivo Garnham. I'm from the University of East Anglia. I'm currently studying a Master's in Broadcast and Digital Journalism, and I'm the Vice President of the Student Council.
So thank you everyone, and now I believe I will invite Damir to take the floor and give us a presentation.
So good morning, everyone. My name is Damir Solag. I'm a student representative from Masaryk University in Brno. That's the second largest city in our country, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me here. Olomouci is a very beautiful city, and I'm also happy to be at the Faculty of Law because I'm a lawyer currently, a PhD student in financial law and financial sciences. I'm representing my Masaryk University in EDUC Alliance, European Digital University. We are an alliance of 8 universities across Europe from Norway to Spain, and Masaryk University is one of the members, and we've been selected in the very first call along with other Czech university, Charles University, which is part of 4EU Plus Alliance. And in the first period, we were an alliance of 6 universities, and in the second call, the universities from Norway and Spain joined us. So just briefly about our goals. I believe that the main goals and why the alliances were created are very similar for all universities. We focus, it's obvious from our name, we focus on digitalization. We would like to offer mobilities for our students, PhD students, and also academic staff, and also supporting, for example, multilingualism and supporting European values and European identity. Just some numbers. We have altogether 200,000 students, more than 10,000 academic staff, and more than 17,000 support admin staff. When it comes to the student board and our first steps, the alliance was officially created in 2019, and there were initiatives for creation of student board from the very beginning. Me personally, I'm also a representative to the European Students' Union, so we shared a lot of news and experiences there. And we wanted to have a functioning student board that will be able to play an active role in Alliance. Of course, there were some obstacles, especially during COVID-19 pandemic, where it was impossible to meet, so all the meetings were online. Also, we had a help from MICE evaluation. That was an evaluation that was conducted in the Czech Republic, and it was done by the state authorities about monitoring of internationalization of Czech higher education system. And this evaluation, one of the findings was that the involvement of students in EDUC Alliance is not sufficient. So that was a help for us to advocate more for higher involvement of students. And everything started going well in the past academic year. We managed to have first physical meeting last year in February in Spain, and in summer 2023 the student board was officially created. So the student board is created on a basis that each of the partner universities has 2 votes. They can send 1 representative, they can send also, for example, 3 representatives, but they have 2 votes, so each university is equal in this matter. There are different procedures how students are nominated from the universities, because some of them have big student unions. That is, for example, the case of Norway. In Czech Republic, we do not usually have student unions, but we have student chambers of the academic senates. So we agreed that procedures could be different, but it has to be respected that there must be either a direct election or appointment from a democratically elected body. And in the governing board, we have chairman, vice chairman, and secretary. They have to come from different universities, and they are elected by those 16 members of the student board for a mandate of 1 year. So what are our next steps? We have started in September our mandate of the governing board of the student board, and now we are trying to organize monthly meetings with the student board. Prior to those meetings, we have the meetings of a governing board, and we have also day-to-day communication via some chatting apps. We participate at steering committee meetings, at project managers meetings. We also joined European Students' Union's conference of European University Alliances. That's a consultative body of the European Students' Union. They also plan to have meetings, regular meetings, usually 2 per year. And we will, as a EDUC student board, we plan to meet at least twice a year physically. Usually it'll be connected to some steering committee meeting that is going to be physical, so we will probably travel around all partner universities. But it's not only about the meetings of the student board or the steering committee meetings as such. It's about content. So we are active part of the task groups within our alliance. So, for example, these are task groups about micro-credentials, about legal status of the alliance, about PhD study programs, about research, because we want to create the policies that are made within alliance. For example, for me as a PhD student and as a representative of the student chamber that has a majority of its student representatives who are PhD students, this aspect of taking care of PhD students is really important. And we are also now building our internal communication channels where we will share documents and information. And now let's also talk about challenges, because nothing can be 100% positive. So, and I believe here in this atmosphere we are also able to share those challenges and maybe find some solutions. At the beginning, as I already mentioned, I personally felt lack of support and interest, not only from the alliance as such to create a body, but also from other partners' alliances. There were other partners' universities. There were changes not only of the student representatives attending those meetings, but also changes of staff. Due to COVID pandemic, there was not possible to meet personally. And in some cases, it was difficult to understand different procedures, how the student representatives at the various universities are elected or selected. And sometimes it was difficult to understand also some other representatives in English. Not everyone had a proficient English language skills. And challenges for the future, well, I believe it's about PR and getting to ordinary students. We are here all well-informed student representatives, but we want to create opportunities for as many students as possible. So we want to share the opportunities so each student could know the benefits of the European University Alliance. We should definitely share more information about courses offered. They should have enough ECTS for the workload the student makes at this course. So those courses would be attractive. I also believe that this kind of alliance Masaryk University is an opportunity to offer various language courses, because in the Czech Republic we have the situation that usually English is the first language of students, but skills and competencies in other foreign languages are not so good. So we have German universities, French university, Spanish university, and I feel that there's definitely a possibility for offer of those kind of online language courses that would improve language skills of students and maybe also academic staff, and therefore support mobilities. And the mobilities, that's the last issue. We were focused on a gap year opportunity that was coming from France. That's a popular mobility opportunity there, where you decide to spend your gap year and study some courses from the very different study program. This wasn't popular among Czech students, because they simply felt that it doesn't help you to finish your study program, because then you come back and you have to finish all those exams. So definitely we should focus more on mobilities and their benefits within European University Alliance, because what I hear from my colleagues and other students is that Masaryk University as such has a wide range of partner universities, whereas universities within our alliance are in the rankings lower. So students tend to ask, why would I need to go to a mobility within Alliance where I can go for Erasmus to universities which are in a top 300 universities of the world, for example. So there were some issues we have in EDUC, and I'm looking forward for the discussion where we can share our experiences. Here are some contact details of me, and we will continue in the discussion. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Damir, very much for offering a perspective and information about a different alliance from a city that is so close to Olomouci, so I would say close to our hearts. So we always love to see representatives from Brno. And now I wanted to talk briefly about Aurora Student Council and present our emphasis. I mean, as you know, Aurora Alliance prides itself on being a student-centered alliance. Students are at the heart of Aurora, as you can tell by the occupancy in this room. So I wanted to continue with our emphasis, which the Student Council chooses a different emphasis every year. And this year we decided to... This year we decided to focus on inclusivity in education. Since diversity and inclusions is a priority for Aurora, and there have been projects in the past. However, from what I've seen and from what I've heard for everyone in Aurora that I've asked about diversity and inclusion, I've heard that it hasn't gone so well. And I feel like we as the Alliance need to do more in terms of inclusivity, and the Student Council felt the same. So that is why we decided to focus on this topic for the upcoming academic year. We have decided to tackle it both on local level, where each student representative will be assigned with identifying 3 areas in which their local university could improve in terms of inclusivity. but also on alliance level, where we of course want to take part in work packages and task teams across the Aurora 2030 project, and advocate for inclusion. Speaking of work packages and task teams, I do hope that the students will be able to join any and every task team and work package. That was the vision. So we will talk more about this during the kickoff event, but that would be certainly our hope. And we also wanted to present the Alliance with the preliminary self-assessment tool created by the SMILE initiative, which is the social meaning impact through lifelong learning universities in Europe, where essentially SMILE has focused on 3 main areas of inequality and disadvantage in higher education, which is migrant background, women leadership, and low socioeconomic status. And what this tool does is that you can use this self-assessment tool to see how far your university is in terms of inclusivity. The tool is free to access on the SMILE website. The SMILE initiative has been co-funded by the Erasmus Plus project and is entirely focused on inclusive learning and diversity in higher education. And speaking of the tool, based on the score your university gets in the preliminary self-assessment tool, then an action plan is chosen. And there is usually 1 pillar of focus per year, one of the 3 pillars that I mentioned on the previous slide, that your university can focus on. So we would like to really encourage partner universities to consider this tool or something along these lines, so focus more on inclusivity also on an alliance level. And yeah, another emphasis or another important topic that I felt was crucial to address today is the topic of student remuneration. It has a topic that has been addressed before, with varying results, so we felt the importance of addressing it again. As of now, Aurora, like I said, prides itself being in student-centered alliance, and the students are being incorporated more, and we are essentially asked to deliver more, and I believe that it is strategic for us to have the means to do so. It's also in line of the EU Commission is to have students be part of all decision-making bodies. Aurora was part of the second call, so it's not mandatory for Aurora. However, Aurora does have student part of all decision-making bodies, which is a great progress. But for example, for all alliances that are created in the 4th and 5th call of the European Universities Initiative, it is mandatory for all students to be part in every decision-making body, and I don't believe they can be expected to do so for free. In terms of student remuneration, Aurora is doing exceptionally well. I was part of an intern alliance meeting with 41 representatives from over 30 different alliances, and no one else except for Aurora has managed to write student remuneration into the bid. So that is a great progress for us. And even already now, most universities in Aurora already agreed to start rewarding their students, or they're already doing so. However, not all universities. I know for some it's more problematic than for others. There are some legal hurdles in certain countries, concretely Spain and Italy, as far as I know, which prohibit students from being remunerated for their work, in a sense of them being part of, being remunerated for being part in student councils, etc. However, this was also discussed at the 4 EU2 meetings, which I'm part of, and after discussions with Spanish representatives, they actually presented solutions that their universities found to essentially get around these legal hurdles. This you can see that this is the part of this new bid, the second bid starting in November, and one of the deliverables is that student coordinators will be appointed at all institutions. The position of student coordinator will be created and adopted by all institutions. If any institutions are unable to implement such position, they will hand in a report detailing the legal hurdles that prevent them from having a student fulfill the role. In a different place in the bid, it's mentioned that the student coordinators should be selected from the student council members for that given academic year. Now coming back to the legal hurdles and how to avoid them is essentially for example, the Spanish representatives were presented with two different options. Some universities which are part of these alliances chose to give them a tuition fee discount because as far as my knowledge goes, both in Spain and Italy you pay tuition fees to attend university. So the members of the prospective student councils in these alliances were offered a discount. At different universities, which are also part of the European Universities Initiative, the student council representatives were awarded a scholarship, therefore avoiding the issue of not being able to pay students directly for their work. Yeah, I believe that's it for the two main points we wanted to get across today. And I believe Ivo now has a couple words to say about the emphasis and the work this Aurora Student Council has done last year. So thank you.
Hello, we'll shortly be having our panel discussion, but felt that first it would be helpful for me to provide some of the context for the work that the Student Council has completed over the last year. I hope it will provide useful context for the conversation to come. Last year we chose mental health as our emphasis. We felt that it was a particularly important topic given the background of various world events such as the pandemic and the war in Ukraine. We agreed that all of our universities could improve upon the mental health support that they were providing. We decided it would be beneficial for us to research multiple relevant key areas with the goal to help our universities improve their provision systems. So we launched this project at the Autumn Biannual last year with a World Cafe event. We gathered information and ideas on 4 key areas. So those are external factors affecting student experience, practical and institutional problems, ongoing projects at an institutional level, and ideas for cross-institutional collaboration. Whilst there were quite a few different external factors affecting the student experience, we found that these issues seem to be having a consistent impact across all of our universities. Housing and accommodation was a big issue. The cost of living has increased overall, and it has been more difficult to find suitable accommodation to live in near universities. An increased reliance on online teaching has left some students feeling more isolated. I'm sure we're all aware of the benefits of face-to-face teaching itself, but students also miss out on a social element when classes are online. Disillusionment and loss of perspective. Many students have increased anxiety over whether their degree is worth their time and their money. There seems to be more stress over whether you will be able to find a good job after completing your studies. A feeling of lost time due to COVID. Students also attend university for the social side of things too, which is something that was missed by students who have been affected by lockdowns. Additionally, COVID affected the functionality of many student-run groups and events, meaning that even now there are less opportunities to meet and socialize with people who share similar interests. Culture shock is another major issue. It can be a real challenge for international students to adapt to living and learning in a new country. And finally, I think we're all aware of the negative effects that social media can have. Practical and institutional problems. The most common issue we found was a lack of awareness of mental health services and support available at our universities. This was especially a problem for international students. The language barrier that students face when studying abroad can have a detrimental impact on whether or not they seek support. Having to navigate referral systems in a second language is inherently a barrier to true accessibility. We also found that most support services are overwhelmed by demand from students, which puts a lot of pressure upon the support staff themselves, but also deters students from using the services in the first place. Nobody wants to sit on a waiting list for an extended period of time, and that means that some of the people who need to be seen most urgently can end up going unseen. We managed to narrow down the options for cross-institutional collaboration to 4 key ideas. We'd like to see support provided in a variety of languages to increase the accessibility for international students. We'd also like to see the option for an Aurora-wide buddy system whereby students studying abroad can be paired up with each other for peer-to-peer support. We believe that a support staff forum would also be easy to set up and purely beneficial. I envision this as a regular meeting of support staff from each university where they can openly share ideas and best practices. And finally, easier access to information on resources and support available. The Student Council has already begun work on this. We have collated a bank of resources and information from each university, and once it is completed, we would like to see it published on the Aurora website and promoted throughout the network. In addition to our research, we had a mental health workshop here in May, which was led by Hanush and Lucy, who are both studying psychology. They've been our in-house experts. Amongst other things, we had a group meditation session and a talk from Niels on the challenges of intercultural communication. I'm incredibly proud of the work we have done collectively over the last year. Our research has brought us closer to providing an excellent level of support across Aurora and helped inform elements of the bid for the new phase. Going forwards, the Council looks forward to working with all of you on putting these ideas into practice. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And now I believe that Niels wanted to share a couple words about the student schemes with us.
Certainly. So to some of you, this has already been communicated and shared, but I'm happy to announce again that the student schemes and the registration form for that is now again open until December. So students can sign up for the Aurora student schemes to continue being part of this ever-growing community of Aurora students and connect and become more involved with the project to various workshops on both professional and personal development. So these student schemes are still really focused on the students developing themselves in the framework of Aurora's values, and we're happy to have those schemes open again. Due to the kind of awkward timing of the transition from the first bit into the next, this year the program of activities will not run for the full academic year, but it will run from January to July. This is just to accommodate for the student schemes now finally being formally written into the proposal. So turning this from what started as a great initiative from the Student Council into something that is formally part of the Aurora Alliance activities in the Aurora 2030 bit. So we are very happy with that. And then also we are delighted to have now opened the student schemes not only to the partners of the Aurora Alliance, but also to our associate partners, so that our community of engaged students connecting across Europe will be growing even bigger, and we will allow for even more opportunities for students to connect and to interact with Aurora. So after this biannual I will again share to those of you that haven't received it, I will send the registration link so you can start again actively promoting this opportunity to your students at your home universities. And we will also, with the communications group, do our best to have a central message from through the Aurora channels to really target and reach your students and make them enthusiastic about joining this scheme. And then I think now we are slowly going to the point of the panel, but first I would like to... we would like to also ask Ivo to come back to the stage here to give us with some final reflections on UEA's role in Aurora so far. So please, Ivo, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Dear friends, 2 years ago in Tarragona, I delivered my first speech to you. I spoke of the potential impacts that Brexit may have upon the participation of UK universities in international projects. Since then, Hanush and I have joked that UEA remained a part of Aurora for now. Today I stand before you bearing the weight of the fact that my fears have become reality. On behalf of all of the students of the University of East Anglia who have benefited from Aurora, I would like to thank you all for your hard work, your dedication, and your optimism. We are deeply sad that this partnership is coming to an end. I would like to remind you that although there may be a small amount of water between us, the fine city of Norwich will always be only a few minutes away via email or video call, of course. I would like to give my personal thanks to everybody who welcomed me into this community. The experiences, the friendships, the relationships I've gained through being a member of the Student Council have changed me. They've shaped me into the person that I am today. I've loved every second that I've spent as a part of Aurora. If I could, I would travel back in time and relive every moment all over again. Maybe I would change a couple of things, but I will never regret the journey I've been on with you. I will cherish every memory for the rest of my life. I'm incredibly proud of everything we've achieved together, but it seems that our time together is coming to an end. So on behalf of myself, on behalf of the students and the staff of the University of East Anglia, goodbye and farewell for now.
Thank you, Ivo. We will miss you dearly, and everyone from UEA. I don't have much more to say on the topic, except that we are losing a great partner. That's all I want to say. And now I want to give the floor back to Niels, and I believe it's time for our open discussion and some questions from all of you. So yeah, we're excited about that.
Yes, thank you. So again, during this session, we will have Petra going around with the microphone, but you can also use the questions and remarks part of the app. If you go using the top 3 bars, if you go to survey, fill in your questions there. I will be monitoring that as well throughout throughout this session. We will have a bit more of an open discussion now. Feel free to also respond to any of the topics that were touched upon, the Student Council priorities, the work done so far, the perspective provided by Damir from the Educ Alliance, but also, of course, after such a beautiful parting speech, you're also free to respond and then react to UEA's departure from Aurora. So in that sense, I will start with a list of questions, but then if there are any from the room, feel free to raise your hand at any point. Maybe let's start with the UEA situation, and if there are any remarks from people in the audience, anything that they would like to share. I will open the app as well to see if anything is going on there. But if there's anyone who wants to respond to Ivo's speech for now, you can. Or if anything comes to mind later, you can also go into that later and thank Ivo or thank the entire UEA community afterwards. So now we have prepared some questions. And first of all, I would like to ask all of the panelists, what roles can students fulfill in shaping the future of European university alliances? And I think since we've already heard from the three presenters, I would like to start at the other end of the table and ask Nana if she could give her opinion on that.
Thank you for the floor, and great to see all of you. I wish there were more people here caring about what students can do in Aurora. So from my point of view, students are sort of the whole reason that we're here and why Aurora exists. It's a big part of why Aurora is funded, and I mean, what is a university without students? So I think it's really important that we take students into account every step of the way, especially starting this next bit, that students are always kept in mind, because unfortunately the experience so far is sometimes that we are an afterthought, or that our input is not valued or really taken seriously. And it's such a big shame, because students have so much to say and so much to contribute with. And all we really want is to be invited into the circle. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that response. Now, Lucy, yeah, I think you already wanted to.
Okay, good. Thank you, Niels. Like for me personally, as we were already speaking about, that it's not so common in Czech Republic to have student councils for students to be heard. I'm very happy that we have in University Palackého, we have Aurora. That's kind of our student council here. And I also feel it's so important that students are heard. We have a lot of things to say, and we have also a lot of things to offer, because the representatives of the Alliance can represent the students, participate in many events, also give feedback from the events, and then also what I feel is very important, it's the advocacy part. For example, last year when we were having the emphasis about mental health, students are closest with other students, so we can gather the ideas from our peers and then basically advocate and represent those ideas to a higher point of view. So yeah, I think it's very important, and I'm so happy to be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. Then we can go over to the people that have already given part of their opinion on this during their presentation. But starting with Damir, what would you say, or what would you like to add about the role that students can play in shaping these European university alliances?
Yes, so I believe that there are more roles for students. I have already spoken about some of them. The alliances and the higher education as such is about students, it's for students, so the alliances should be creating the opportunities for students, for example, about mobilities, courses, and so on. But it's also about governance. So if we are creating opportunities for students, we have to ensure that students have a say in shaping those alliances, because, as we have heard, students have so much to say, and but we here need to ensure that students have enough information, because the representatives from the academic staff, they are already experienced, they have spent years or dozens of years in their universities, and they know the processes. As students, you are bringing some new, fresh inspiration, energy, but you also have appropriate training so you can get to know the context. And I also want to mention once again the PhD students, because they are somewhere between. They are older students, but not already researchers, not already full members of the academic staff. So we should also focus on them and offer them enough possibilities to gain contacts abroad, to be able to do their researches with foreign partners in the later years.
Yes, of course. Microphone is coming your way.
Thank you. So you mentioned also in your presentation the bottom-up governance of students, and I feel like your alliance is more involved. The students are more involved in creating these decisions for the presidents, maybe. Can you give us more examples of the involvement of the students, and also how is it done, the procedure, or is it too much to ask?
Could you just give more information about which procedures you mean?
You mentioned something about PhD students, for example. In your university, the process of PhDs getting involved in outside research, is it managed or governed by the presidents or by students? Something.
Yes, so I'll explain more about the situation of PhD students. In the Czech Republic, they are considered as students. They have the same students' rights as bachelor students and as master students. And usually, where you have the elections to the academic senate, students tend to vote for more experienced students. So usually at our university, we have the higher share of the PhD students in those student bodies compared to the actual share of PhD students within whole student community at our university. So that's why they are more heard, they are more active, because they got elected to those collective bodies where the student representation is. Moreover, there are another bodies at my university only for PhD students. So we have a PhD working group because there are different aspects of PhD study programs at natural sciences and, for example, in law. So there's a big discussion about PhD study programs. In general, in Czech society, the big reform of PhD study programs is now being prepared in the national legislation plan. And in Educ Alliance, we have special task groups on PhD students and young researchers, postdocs, and supporting the mobility. The thing is also that in Czech accreditation standards, you as a PhD student have to go mandatory either for traineeship abroad or to participate in an international project. But my university has decided that they'll create more strict criteria, so each PhD student has to go abroad for at least 1 month. So that's why we also need to ensure that PhD students have enough opportunities to go abroad, and mobilities within Educ Alliance could be one of the possibility.
Yeah. So first Marcus, and then Thomas afterwards.
Hi everyone, I'm Marcus from UDE. As some of you know, I was a student representative years ago, founding member of the Student Council, 2016. That's why, first of all, I want to thank you for your presentation and for your work, for the work you do. I would like to come back to the topic of the role of students within the Alliance or the alliances. And Hanush, I'm very glad that you mentioned the ambition to take part in all the task teams. I think this is something that might be quite hard from time to time to keep the work continuously, to be continuously present as a student in working groups. And I think this is something that, well, could work better maybe in the future, at least from my experience. And this is why my question is, what obstacles do you see? Do you have any ideas for better supporting student representation within the dedicated working groups? Damir mentioned appropriate trainings. Do you feel the need for that? Yeah, this is my question basically.
Thank you. Regarding the appropriate trainings within Aurora, so far I don't really see the reason for it. What I see as the biggest obstacle is communication, or lack thereof, essentially, which I feel like there are so many missed opportunities and misunderstandings, because most of the time students even don't know that they can be part of such task teams and work packages. And then by the time they find out the task teams are already working, you know, they're in the process, and then it's hard to join, which then leads them to being really confused and not really knowing what's going on. So then the dropout rate is quite high. Which I think is an issue not only within Aurora, but I also see it in other European alliances. I think just generally the biggest issue that comes to mind right now is communication and reaching students in time, reaching them in appropriate manners and with relevant information.
Thank you. I think Nana also wanted to respond to this question.
Yeah, really building on what Hannu said, I think communication is important, and also just visibility. There are so many students that frankly don't have a clue what happens in Aurora and don't know about the student opportunities that you can sort of involve yourself with. But of course it takes a lot of work, and it really sort of has to be introduced, I think, when students are beginning university at any of the partner universities, that Aurora is a big part of what these universities want to accomplish, and that you should, as a student, just from being a student at any Aurora university, you should know what is Aurora, what can you do, and how can you shape what Aurora does as a student.
Thank you for those remarks. And I think we will go to Thomas Esterman for his question.
Thank you very much, Thomas from the European University Association. My question was a little bit similar to the previous one, but I think you said that the role of students can be something also to bring in fresh ideas. I think that's very clear, and I hope that this is also valued. One of the challenges that we have seen as well is if you work in governing bodies that where you have members that are already part of this body for quite a long time, and with students you have probably a more frequent change. So you can bring in continuously fresh ideas, but on the other hand, the challenge is probably also how to get up to speed with what other members have already known for quite a long time. Is there anything that you could share as a good practice, or how you sort of overcome maybe some of these disadvantages to get in there? I mean, you mentioned communication, but is there anything that your predecessors can do to help, or anything else? Could you share something on that?
If I can answer this question, we have been trying to tackle this issue within the Student Council by creating institutional memory. We have created the Aurora Student Council Handbook, which describes what Aurora is, what it does, work package overview, what is expected from a Student Council member. We discussed the student schemes there. We also created a code of governance so that the students that come after us have an idea on how to run a student council, how to represent the students in the governing body, such as the general council and the board. And I'm proud to present that we have decided on a meeting actually 2 days ago that we will create a strategic plan, a 4-year strategic plan, so that the students coming after us don't feel like they have to start from scratch again, and then we can really focus more in depth on the initiatives and things we want to do, and how we want to use Aurora essentially to do them, and how we want to push the whole alliance forward. So that's some of the ways that we have been trying to tackle this issue.
Thank you for that. Are there any other questions from the room at this moment?
Thank you very much. Very good for us here in the administration of Aurora to hear your view, and Aunus is a member of the board, so it's good for us also to have a dialogue. I'm Jonathan Bentersson, the president of Aurora and also the rector of the University of Iceland. I find it very interesting to hear you talk about Aurora. What we need to think about is that Aurora, for the individual universities, and we very much miss East Anglia, is just one of the activities we have. And the major problem we have at the individual universities that are different is that the staff doesn't know what Aurora is. The academics, they are not that involved. We have a few involved, but we need to have more involved, and we are trying to communicate that. And through the professors or the lecturers, we can say, if they see an opportunity, they can propagate to the students. But the communication aspect is always very difficult because it's just one of many, many items we're doing. And you mentioned the communication to the students, and I think our student council has been very open at the University of Iceland for this, and we have a good relationship. But the question is, how do we communicate to the students? What are your recommendations to us in reaching the students? Because as I see it, and we have gone a long way, Aurora focused very much on student engagement from the start. We have a board member that is the student president, but that was not in the beginning, so we have progressed, but we still have this problem. So the question is, how do we get these opportunities that are offered within Aurora to the individual students? It's great that students participate in the work packages, but those are only a few. But to reach all the others, I mean, we need help. So I would like recommendations from you regarding that. Thank you.
I think this is something that we've talked about a lot over the last however many years. But social media, we feel within the Student Council, is underused as a tool for communicating with students. That is the main way that a lot of students get information about their universities, about events that are happening, about any opportunities that are going on. And I think we discussed it in our meeting on Monday, that all of us have only ever seen Aurora mentioned on our university's main social media channels once or maybe twice. And that goes for myself and Hanush, who have been on the Student Council for over 2 years. And that's something that we've been asking for quite a while. I assume that's something that the council will be taking forward and pushing for further engagement with.
Yeah, if I can add on to this, yeah, I mean, I love this question because we have been trying to figure out a way to reach this mass student population for years, and we have been pushing for Aurora's own Instagram account, which has been started 3 years ago. However, the first post on it was made 3 days ago, or 4 now maybe. So I am proud to say that this achievement has been done, and now we have a functional Instagram account. Which I hope we will use a lot in the future. We have established the role of communications officer within the student council, who will be responsible for sharing student council's ideas and projects and any student-related matters that come our way with on the Instagram. The communications officer will also be a part of the Aurora's official communications team. So we're hoping that there will be clear communication between all units. And like Ivo said, it's been very difficult to, like you mentioned, that Aurora is just one of the many activities each one of our respective universities is part of. So it has been very difficult to push Aurora on like the official social media sites of each university. For example, I believe the Palackého University's Instagram has over 13,000 followers. However, there is maybe 1 or 2 Aurora-related posts since Palackého joined Aurora. Last time me and Niels tried to get a post there, I believe it took between 6 months.
It took a while to get
yeah,
that clearance.
it took a while, and it's an issue we're trying to tackle, but I don't have a clear solution as of now.
Yes, Nana?
I think just being a sort of newer member of everything Aurora, I remember as a student, I actually do read the emails that the uni sends me. I'm one of the few. And I read the email about Aurora, and I thought, okay, this sounds interesting, but it was so hard to understand what was actually in it for students. And I think also sort of adapting and learning more about Aurora, it's a general issue that it is so hard to grasp what it actually is, and there are so many parts. And then once you sort of get it, and I think I kind of do now, I hope so, you forget how hard it is to learn. And for example, with the student schemes, now I think it's a great opportunity. But initially being introduced to it, I thought, who would want to work 12 hours for some organization that they're not really connected to? So I think that this also boils down to communication, that it needs to be clearer. And we need to really explain how it's beneficial to be a part of Aurora.
Thank you. I see Andrea has a question.
Yes, thank you for the introduction. As an example, we are really new in the Alliance, and we wanted to explain, we really understood the role of Aurora and the opportunities this year with Mathilde. So we wanted to share the vision of Aurora, to spread really the vision in our university, and one of our first ideas was to do a seminar. And it was a success. So I would advise you if you want to do a seminar, because it was a success really. Like 100 students was at the seminar. And Niels came, and we took time to explain actually what the Alliance is, and the opportunity for the students, the experience they could have, and the difference between Erasmus and Aurora. I think it's really complex alliance, so we need to take time to explain what it is, and I think it's one of our priority as a student representative at a local level first to do actions, and after we will try our best to do at European level.
And if I can add something, is that I think you should really understand what students want and emphasize this as social impact or climate change. This is the actual biggest worries of students, and if you emphasize those things, students will feel more involved. And you have also to strengthen the fact that be able to take part in that kind of alliance is adding value to your future CV, and showing self-competencies more, and showing that you are taking part in European new things. And I think it's really good, and you have to emphasize this point. Yeah, more. Okay,
thank you for those remarks. If there is anyone else that still wants to comment on the specific roles of students in alliances right now? If not, I want to move the discussion a bit towards the priority of the Aurora Student Council for this year, and that's the matter of inclusivity in education. First of all, I would like to ask if any of you in the room or any of the panelists want to share a major obstacle that they see at their own institution when it comes to ensuring these this kind of inclusivity in education. Is there anyone first in the panel who wants to comment on that? Nana, please.
So one of the things that we in the Student Council at University of Iceland is working on currently is getting access to dictionaries in all exams, because for students with foreign backgrounds, migrant students, it is incredibly difficult to firstly learn Icelandic and then have to do an exam in Icelandic without access to a dictionary and without prolonged exam time, which you will typically need if you're spending the entire exam looking in a dictionary. So this is something that we're really hoping to accomplish in the student year, and I hope that it is also something we can look into how is being handled at the other partner universities in Aurora, and whether this is something that we can work towards together.
Thank you. Are there any other? Yeah, Lucy, please.
There is actually one thing that just came into my mind when Nana was speaking. We have something similar here. It's very specific. It's for University of Palackého. It doesn't have many programs, like degrees that are in English, but one of them is medical, general medicine. And what I know from personal experience of my friend, that there are foreign students, and when they have a practical trainings, let's say still while studying medicine, they have a practical trainings and they go to the hospital, still the students, they can't understand Czech. So like for them, the practical learning, there is like the barrier of the language where it's not inclusive enough for them to be able to learn about the practical field in the medicine that they certainly need for their future work. So yeah, this is what came to my mind.
Thank you for that remark. And I think Hanush wanted to respond as well.
Yes, so when it comes to greatest obstacles that Palackého University faces when it comes to inclusion, I find that it is the fact that Palackého doesn't collect any data regarding ethnicity, migration background, or low socioeconomic status. So it's hard then to find a starting point on like where you exactly should start with inclusion and how you should work with it when you really don't know your own student population. When we brought this up with from the Aurora office, we were told that we do not collect data due to GDPR concerns, which I find interesting because I did some research, and partner universities within Aurora Alliance, which are part of EU and EEA, and which GDPR also applies to, do collect those data. For example, VU collects data on migration background and background of parents, both for students and staff. For example, they have data that only 10% of staff are child of immigrants, while the percentage for VU students is as high as 21%. They have a Call for Staff action plan. CBS also collects this data for regarding gender, student origin, and staff cultural background and citizenships. So I find it slightly inconsistent that while if the GDPR is the concern and it applies to all EU states, then how come some universities are able to collect this data and some are not? So that is one of the greatest obstacles. The other obstacle is that we do not have any equality or inclusion webpage. There is no section anywhere on the Palackého's website that would, give you an overview of the plans and initiatives we actually have. I know that the University of Iceland has such section, VU has such section, CBS has that section with all the relevant documents and the contact person where you can reach out to if you want to. So I think Palackého can definitely use those as a sort of inspiration.
Thank you for those remarks. I see John has a question.
Thanks very much. Ivo, just thank you for your words before. Yeah, it's sad. To respond to you, Janusz, I'm sorry if I seem to be pushing my own particular interest, but the bevy actually does collect most of the data that you've just named. It does collect information on parents' educational background, immigration, nationality, etc. And of course, I know that within Aurora, I would say that the uptake of the bevy has been slow, and one of the sort of resistances it gets taken up by teachers who sort of see the point and wish to use it with a class, but on an institutional level, it's slow. And one of the reasons that sort of kills its progress at institutional level is the whole privacy question. Yeah. But I heard Max say the other day, and I mean, I take him as a legal authority, certainly in comparison with me, when you enter the bevy, there is a consent form in which you agree to allow the bevy to use your information, store it with all guarantees of anonymity, etc. You're the only person who knows your passwords. You're the only person that can access the data. But apparently, by passing through that filter of the first consent form, that's the end of all GDPR objections to the use of that particular instrument. So I'm not saying everyone should use it, but I'm just saying actually those resources are available to us now. And the arguments that people produce, they're really, I think there's an emotional resistance to it for many, many reasons, but it's not a rational argument because apparently legally there is no objection to that because the person expresses their consent before they even enter the test. And having given the consent, then there's no more issue there.
Thank you for that. I wholeheartedly agree with you. I mean, from all the privacy discussions I've had, it really seems to me that it's down to institutional interpretation of what privacy and legal and GDPR restrictions mean. So, but it's good to know about Webby. I will bring it up with the leadership. Thank you.
Yes, please, Lucy.
Oh, I'm thinking, is it unconscious bias that people have towards this? I think it's also by the thing that there is not enough of awareness raised to collecting those data that it's an okay thing to do. Maybe you could try to, when you were saying that you would bring that up, to bring the unconscious bias that people don't even know what is going on, but it's unconsciously in their mind, so they already have some kind of position and let's say mindset on those things.
I will just add that I do enjoy it when people misinterpret GDPR. I'm a bit of a nerd about GDPR and I know it far too well. But John's absolutely right. That shouldn't be a barrier. And anyone who says it is wrong. It's sort of I think it's very much a shame that this is our emphasis this year at the time when UEA is leaving, because I think that inclusion and diversity is something that UEA does incredibly well. And those of you who know Helena Gillespie will know how passionate she is about it, and she oversees all of that at UEA, and I think she's just a fantastic person to work with. And based on the experiences I've heard about from students and staff colleagues here, I think there's an awful lot that everyone could learn from her and from the way that UEA goes about things. And I feel that probably one of the biggest obstacles that I've come across in my time in student representation has often been that academics, not to stereotype, but generally the older ones, often feel that this idea of inclusion is this massive, overwhelming task. But I think perhaps we need to reframe it not as a task that is going to be completed and hooray, one day we've done inclusivity, isn't that great? It should be more about, it's an ideology, it's a way of thinking, it's about going, okay, well, how can we include as many voices in everything that we're doing? How can we make sure that the voices we're including are representative? How can we ensure that we're not going to the same person every time and asking and demanding that they constantly represent their demographic over and over again, because that grows tiring for them. I think it's just about including as many voices as possible.
I would just like to add to that, correct me if I'm wrong, Ivo, but UA has a diversity officer who is a student that has a full-time position, taking up students' initiatives and essentially trying to make sure that the student population is diverse and everyone's voices is heard.
Yeah, so within the Students' Union at UEA, we have one full-time person whose job is to work on diversity issues. We also have various part-time student volunteers who work on improving the representation of specific demographics. So, for example, we have a number of disability officers and that sort of thing. And and that's something that I realise is perhaps we're ahead on, and other universities don't have. So there's an idea to take it forward.
Thank you, and that brings us nicely to another point. I wanted to give people the opportunity. Well, first the question.
Yeah. It's also just a comment. So, hi, my name's Nanna. I'm from the University of Iceland, and I was lucky enough to work with a colleague at the University of East Anglia in inclusive internationalization within Aurora. We just completed our work recently, but so I'm also very sad that UEA is leaving, but I'm also very happy that they were able to share their practices with us, and they really put their mark on a reference document that we wrote where we were mapping where the inclusive practices at each university. I forgot my question. But I think I just also wanted to reassure the students that it is something that is being taken seriously within Aurora. And we are going to continue working on making mobility and internationalization at home as inclusive and diverse as possible.
Thank you for that remark, and that brings me to the next question. Now that we started to talking about the great work that UEA has done regarding inclusivity, are there any other institutional best practices? We talked a bit about the challenges, but are there other best practices that anyone in the room wants to share regarding diversity and inclusivity? Please let us know. Or if we have discussed inclusivity enough for now, mull it over, we can discuss it over lunch. And then I want to, before we end this session, briefly go back to the panel and to the room for some final thoughts on the matter of student remuneration. What would the consequences be if this is not really properly achieved? And what are any obstacles we see there, or best practices again? Please. Of course. Microphone is coming your way.
I'm faculty, so not immediately always concerned by student councils, although I obviously value them. But inclusivity, when I heard, the issue of the general university population not knowing about Aurora is a serious problem, I think. But inclusivity didn't ring a bell to me as containing language problems issues. So, and obviously when you think of an international university, language is a major issue. Especially in France, we're not allowed to teach in English, for example. So there might be a communication point there to look into, as if just the keyword inclusivity could be enlarged or explained.
Thank you for that. Are there any comments on that from the panel, or any further comments or inclusivity? If not, we can open the floor to thoughts. Ivo, please.
Yeah, I mean, sort of these issues are not completely separate. The idea of paying students for their work is a key to unlocking that inclusivity and that diversity. At the moment, no, members of the student council are, if they're lucky enough to be paid by their university or their university student council or union, then that's great. But the majority of us aren't paid for the work that we do. From my perspective, I've spent this over the last year I've been fitting in my roles within the Aurora Student Council alongside my studies, alongside multiple part-time roles, part-time jobs, internships that I've had to do in order to afford to be at university. And I'm lucky that I've had those opportunities and I've been able to balance my time that well. But in terms of, I think especially students from lower socioeconomic backgrounds, that is a key issue. If they're not going to get paid for their work, then is it going to be worth their time? Are they going to be able to have their studies and a part-time job and these opportunities within Aurora as well? It's how you get more students in. It's how you get access to a broader range of voices. Yeah.
Yeah, if I can just add on to that, if students will not be rewarded for their work, then the only students who will be able to do such work will be the students who can afford it. And then you will have the same people who usually tend to share the same opinions or have the similar backgrounds, I find. And then where is the diversity? Where is the inclusion? Where is making sure that all the voices are heard? And then also, I feel like a lot of people who then stay in the academia do so because they got opportunities to, stay in education, to, for example, be in these student councils, get excited about just the student life and improving it. And if they will not have the chance, then people who also stay in academia will be then the same people only the people who could afford it from the start. So.
Thank you for those remarks. Are there any further remarks on remuneration as a key tool for student inclusivity? If not, because we're slowly closing the end of the scheduled time of this panel, I would also like to ask you if there is any closing remarks that you would like to make, or any final questions, then please do so now.
One personal final remark, because we had this discussion that we should communicate inside our houses, staff as well as students involved more. So in that sense, I think we should think about inclusivity in a much, much wider sense. We have to include all our students in all our houses, all our staff, and then everybody's included by itself. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, Ksenia.
Hello. Okay. My name is Xenia Rubiralta. I'm actually working in Palackého University, but I come from the URV in Tarragona. I was part of the Aurora Student Council for the last 2 years. And I'm the only one from, I would say, Spain and Italy representing students somehow. And I want to make some point about what Hanush said about all the struggles that Spain and Italy are facing by hiring or getting into the student representation and getting paid for the role. It's important that we kind of find the measure of getting certificates and getting discounts for the university fees, but Aurora has to find a way to help Spain and Italy to actually get the representatives paid. Otherwise, no one from UNINA is here, no one from URV is here, and I'm very sad about everything, and I'm very disappointed because there's a big differences between representatives, and I really hope that, I know that the Student Council is very much aware of that, and they do the best they can, but I'm just talking about the Aurora board, that if there are legal struggles and problems, it has to be a way to actually get the students from Spain and Italy rewarded financially. Thank you.
Thank you for those important remarks. Are there any responses to that perhaps, or any other final remarks? Alessandro, please.
That is a wonderful point. The problem that we face is that we cannot legally pay students for doing these kind of things. We cannot legally pay students for doing these kind of things. We can use grants, indeed, but then for grants, you have to have an open call. It's a different procedures. And in a board, we need to have unions in it. We cannot choose through an open call if we want to have the unions involved in it. So it's a very complex matter. I'm very happy that this point was raised, because we need to find a way to face this problem, because I fully agree that if we only leave open, a bit like the Erasmus program, to the students freely to participate without supporting them, only some students with a strong background and a socioeconomic background will be able to participate, and then we will fail. I fully agree with that. Thanks.
Thank you. Damir, please.
Yes, as a concluding remark, I would like to just thank you for this discussion, because I'll also bring some ideas back to Maastricht University and to EDUC, and I believe that this discussion about the remuneration is important, because the representatives of the academic staff are doing tasks within Alliance, within their working hours, but as students, we do it in our free time. We could spend in a different way, or, for example, at some other job. So I understand that in Alliance, which has, for example, 7 members, there are 7 totally different legal systems in the countries, and I'll try to open this discussion also within our student board, and I'm happy that I had an opportunity to be with you today, and we'll definitely be more in touch, especially with colleagues from Olomouci, because we are just 90 minutes away.
Yes. Thank you very much, Damir, for those remarks. Then, if there are no people that really urgently want to say anything still before lunch, I want to really thank all of the panelists. I want to thank the entire student council present here today for all of the work that they have been doing in representing the interest of Aurora students so far, and we look really forward to seeing that role increase even further in the future. Thank you all very much. Then now everyone can go for lunch.